Hello students, myself Sumangla Biratha. So in the last video we know about attributes, data types used in SQL. Now in this video let's see about specifying constraints in SQL. So basic constraints comes under in SQL are key and referential integrity constraints, restrictions on attribute domains and nulls, and constraints on individual tuples within a relation. First we'll see about specifying key and referential integrity constraints. So as we already know that what is key? So in the key you are having the two things. One is primary key clause and another one is the unique key clause here. So which specifies one or more attributes that make up the primary key of a relation. Primary key means what? Attributes which holds the unique value. So those attributes you can specify as a primary key as a condition that attribute value must be unique here. So for example, this D number is a one attribute is of type int, and now you want to specify as a primary key here. So primary and key you have to use as a keyword. So this is to specify the primary key here. So one more alternative to specify the key as a secondary key here. Secondary is what? It is almost equal here. It is always equal. Primary key is always equal and alternative secondary key is almost equal here. For example, department name as attribute and varchar as a data type of length 15 and unique. Unique means what it is? It is almost unique here. These are the two keys you can specify in a SQL, and this is the format you have to use to specify this key constraints here. Next is the referential integrity constraints. Referential integrity constraints, it comes for the related with the foreign key here. So it is reject or update or violation here. So as we already know that referential integrity constraints means what it is. So if you want to relate the any two tables, you are relating with the help of the primary key and foreign key. So in the foreign key, what are the values you will take? No, those values must be what it is. It must be referred by the primary key values only. And also you already know that while making insertion, deletion and updation, referential integrity constant also violates here. So now if it violates, what action you have to take here? That is what we call as a referential triggered action. So options include set null here. So if you are delete, or if you are update, so then you in default you can set as a null value, cascade and set default. So these are the some of the triggered actions comes under if it violates the referential integrity constraints here. So in the same way, if you are using the action taken by DBMS for set null, set default is the same for both on delete, on update here. So now whenever you delete no, so in the place of that value, if you are use the set null means what? So this one it takes as a null value in the place of that particular value here. On update also same procedure here. So you may have the default value. So in the place of the null you can also set as a default value here. So these are the some of the actions comes under in this referential triggered action. One more is the cascade option, suitable for relationship relations. As I told earlier, if you want to delete the any of the tuples as a rows from the foreign key and the primary key, first compulsory you have to delete from the foreign key table and next you can delete from the primary key table here. So now that option you can remove by using this cascade option. Cascade option means what it is? So automatically where the row you are having and primary key is there, no, that row if you delete now, automatically it deletes that from the foreign key table also. So that is what we call as a cascade here. So next is specifying attribute constraints and attribute defaults. So even for the attributes also you can specify the constraints. One is the not null here. If you are use the as a not null, then indicates what? That is null is not permitted for particular attribute. For any attribute, if you take the constraint as a not null, then compulsory you have to enter the value here. Or even you can also set the default value for the your attributes. In case if anyone not enter the any value for the attribute, then in the default you use this default and give the value, automatically it takes the value, default value here. Check class, one more is there. This is what? Department number is a data type attribute, int is the data type, not null. As I told earlier, not null means what it is? It is not permit to take the null value for this D number. Compulsory you have to enter a values here. So next is check. Check is the condition. What it checks? Department number must be greater than 0 and department number must be less than 21. So for the department number, what are the values you will enter? No, that value must be greater than 1 and less than 21 here. So this condition it checks, according to that only it takes. For example, if I enter a 22, it gives the error message. That is what we call as this is the check class constraints here. So these are the some of the attribute conditions to specify for the attributes here. Next is specifying the constraints on tuples using check. Even you can also use this for the tuples. Tuples means when you enter the values. So apply to each tuples individually. So here check is what? Department create date is less than or equal to manager start date here. So now what are the so what are the manager start date you will take? No, it must be greater than the department create date. So department create date, it is what it is. For example, today if I created the date, no, then what are the manager start date must be? It starts with the today day or it may be next dates here, not the previous dates here. So that condition doesn't work. Department itself I created today and manager start date if I specify the earlier date, it is not the correct here. So that condition also while inserting the tuples, if you want to check, no, then you can go for this check class here. And this check class is related with what? While specifying the tuples, you are giving the condition here. Okay. So these are the some of the types of specifying the constraints on in SQL. Is it clear now? Okay. Thank you.